tonight's stories.
Flashing mother-in-law.
Bro night.
Dad cheated.
Double affair baby. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Comfort Level Podcast. I'm Maddie, and I'm here with
Brandon.
Sam.
Sam and Sam. And we're here in the sandwich.
Oh, is that why you sat me here?
Well, no, usually the guests sit over there.
It's crazy, too, because I was
She
like...
said that on the first episode Sam was on, and it doesn't change for her.
And I was like, there's only so many in Samson. Like, there's only so many jokes you can...
Don't say in Samson like it's normal.
He did.
I feel like that was made.
You said it. And now you're bringing up like in Samson, like that's one everyone. Sandwich is very common. He's like in Samson, like everyone would get that. You said it the first time.
He just Regina Georged you.
And now you're trying to bring it up. Stop trying to make in Samson happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, Brandon.
It's a Sam within a Sam. Just hit the like and subscribe. Just for that. In Samson.
Oh my God. Don't start making Samson. It's good.
Everybody in the comments are like, it's good, Sam.
Actually, I am getting mad. People really ride for Brandon now. Every time he says say something, they will say it. So I know they're going to be like, in Samson's good. It's not good.
What should they say this episode?
Don't say it, Sam.
No.
Please don't say it.
I'm going to wait. Let me think of something.
Your power's too strong. Don't say it.
All I'm going to say is, whatever I say to say later, just put in parentheses in Samson.
Oh, what the
You're a
hell?
monster. We got a little something in the mail.
Well, something.
Oh, I guess this. Look at this.
Hey!
Oh.
This is the... Got a little something else!
We official, man. 100K.
You know, a little plaquey here, a little plaquey there.
Little plaquey
A
everywhere.
little plaquey everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I did make the joke, we're not quitting, right? Because I need this.
Well, that was off.
Are we quitting or not? Because I need this.
Well, yeah, Sam made the joke off camera to Sammy that this was the last episode. But
It's
I mean,
not.
hey, if you want to keep going,
It would be nice if we could keep going.
I would love to keep going.
He said, I
Yeah.
need this.
I don't have anything else really going on right now, so if this ends... Ugh.
Hey, I can relate. You know
There's
what I'm
going to be a
saying?
lot of looking out the window.
Okay, so this first story is, am I the asshole for hating my baby sibling for being born out of my dad cheating with my mom?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
It's not.
Yeah.
I think that's clear from the thing. There's nothing you can say.
You didn't ask to be here.
There's
They also
nothing you
didn't.
can say. I guess unless they're older and they're like rubbing it in your
Right.
face.
Am I the asshole for hating my baby sibling for being born out of my dad cheating with my mom? I recently, 21 female, saw a post about someone claiming they're an only child because their siblings don't acknowledge them since they were born from an affair. It hit close to home because I'm in a similar situation. 2 years ago, my mom caught my dad cheating. He had been in a 5-year-long relationship with another woman who was also cheating on her husband. When the truth came out, it completely shattered our family. My mom was financially dependent on my dad, and the whole situation was incredibly heavy for her and us siblings. My brother had just finished university and had to step up to support her financially, but nothing was the same after that. It broke my mom. She started having panic attacks, and she's been a deeply sad person ever since. She's never really recovered. Now my dad has a 4-month-old baby with this woman, and I honestly despise the baby. I honestly don't care if hating this baby makes me a bad person. It was born out of 2 selfish, cruel people who destroyed 2 families without a second thought. My mom's life was shattered. My family will never be the same. And now I'm supposed to just accept this baby like nothing happened? No, I refuse. Some actions have consequences. And one day I hope the baby understands that we walked away because his parents are terrible people who tore apart 2 families without remorse. So am I the asshole?
Yeah.
Yes. It's not the baby's fault. I'm not saying there's a difference between like distancing yourself and hating something, I guess. So to me, like if I'll acknowledge you are my brother or half sibling or whatever, but I'm not going to be like
Right.
babysitting you every day or
Yeah.
making you dinner or whatever. But
I think that's a good distinction you just said of there's a difference between like hating you and just being like, I'm not going to be around you.
Yeah.
Like I'm not choosing to have you in my life. And
right.
hopefully one day you can understand, because I'm sure your parents are going to be like, yeah, your sister's not around. It's like, well, yeah, you guys made that decision for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, for me, it is the word hate. I don't think you should hate the baby. The baby has nothing to do with it.
Right.
Right.
I totally agree with that. I think it does naturally happen in situations where there's cheating and involved. This doesn't naturally happen where you're like, I'm just not as close to that that part of the family because I'm probably not raised with them, so I don't have like shared experiences. Usually where you get that familial feeling, and if it happens in an affair, you're probably not going to have that experience with them. So it's not weird to, like you say, distance away from them. But saying you hate this baby, that's just your anger. That's you speaking anger.
Right.
You're angry about the situation. You're angry about how it affected your mom and how it affected your entire family, but it still has nothing to do with the baby.
Yeah.
Right.
So hating the baby it's the word hate.
For me, it's more so the description afterwards too of, you know, the way which she's describing, like, I can't be around this baby. The mentality can almost make the child feel like there's a mistake when like the action is the mistake, not them being born.
Right.
Them having life is not the mistake. So yeah, I don't know. There's you can just choose not to interact. You don't have to hate.
Yeah, I can understand that because I totally get, having not necessarily completely similar experiences, but seeing cheating affect people. And imagining having to have like a sibling, a little half sibling, I would understand that I would have anger for, the people who did that, who created that baby. But also I could understand what OP's saying of, I don't want to be around the baby. Me personally, I don't think it would be as strong as saying hate. It's not necessarily the baby, it's the parents who created the baby. But also I feel like I'm not going to be in their life, and seeing the effect that the cheating had on her family, her brother having to, I don't know if it was leave school or he just
finished.
Finished university. Now he's supporting his mom, her mom is, deeply depressed. It could really make me resent my father and the woman who cheated with him, and the baby. I don't think I would necessarily say I hate the baby, but I would also never intend on having a relationship with that baby.
Right.
And it would really probably deeply make me consider even having any type of relationship with my father, but probably low contact, if anything. I don't want to hear about the baby. I don't want to hear about the wife. I don't want to hear who you cheated with. I don't want to hear anything about that relationship.
Well, I do think time plays into it. It doesn't mean you definitely will, but the baby's 4 months. This is fresh. This just happened. Right. It doesn't mean that, especially you being 21 years old, that you don't grow and be like, I did feel that way when I was 21. I'm older now. I realize like how this can affect the baby now, because now the baby's going to grow up in this with people, no matter what, even if it's like not completely rational, people are going to be like, yes, the baby is the reason why this failed, even though the baby's just a product of the actual bad thing.
Right.
So the baby's going to grow up in this, and you're going to see, as a human, see this other human grow up and see all these things coming at them, and that might soften you. That might change you. You're like, you know what? You're a victim in this, and I might feel differently. I don't feel that now because it literally happened 4 months. But I'm guessing it's just very recent. It's not something that's been a long time that you can sit there and process through all your feelings.
Yeah, probably. And even, months is not nearly enough. Years time. Sometimes.
Yeah. So I'm like, process through it. And not to police their word. It's just process through this, see like what your emotions are, see how you feel it, distance yourself for sure. And then like see how you feel years from now, a year from now, 2 years now, 3 years from now.
And do I think you're the asshole for saying you hate your baby sibling? Me personally, I don't, because I don't think it affects the baby at all. Like, unless you're being like, hey baby, I hate you. Like, it really is just a matter of your personal opinion, where I say, I understand why you guys might disagree, but I'm like, I don't know. It's just you're going through this mourning process. And if you have a problem with this baby,
I mean,
Then-
don't take it out on the baby. But
Never take it on the baby.
Yeah, if
I
you're
hope you
not in
never
contact.
express this to the baby because, like you're saying, it's a product of what happened. The baby is not at fault for what happened. The baby is just there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everybody deals with things differently and they mourn things differently. And I think it's like a very understandable emotion,
Anger's definitely.
which is why I'm like, I don't see it affecting or hurting the baby anyway. So I guess you can not like the baby. Like, what does it matter?
If you're saying that if they really don't have contact with the baby,
That only.
then,
Yeah.
then it is fine because you aren't affecting the baby.
You're not
But I'm
affecting
like,
the baby.
even you saying I hate the baby and you don't say that to the baby, I feel like humans pick up on that. Like
Right.
there's an energy that's
can feel
being
it.
transferred to the person. So if you're around the baby in any way and like having that, I don't think that's good for the child.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like constantly thinking on it, because then like your thoughts just become like actions subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hatred turns into, like if you do have to interact with the baby, maybe comments that you wouldn't necessarily say to any other baby.
Right.
And then it's just little things that just keep adding up until it just becomes nature. Right. You're just like, I don't like this person.
But this story references another post, and we actually have that other post too.
What?
Maybe get a little different perspective on, I guess, I don't know,
It's the
siblings. It is the
baby
baby.
The baby
posted.
rolled in.
It's the baby, yeah.
Let's go.
Hey.
Okay, so this story that they were referencing, which is why they even posted, is, am I the asshole? I'm a double affair baby who was rejected by both sets of siblings, so I say I'm an only child.
Which I guess the other story, that was a double affair baby too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
double affair baby.
Well, this is why I kind of push back on, not push back, but like it affects the person who's the baby.
Yeah.
They feel screwed over. They just feel like no one wants me here.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks from your family. We've had a lot of stories where they feel like their families just don't want them and how bad that feels. The people who are supposed to want you are like, nah.
right.
Yeah. Well, especially like you're saying, if they don't necessarily say it, but there's an energy about
Yeah.
it and you can feel that energy.
It's like they're doing it because they're obligated to, like, well, you're a family, so you have to be here. But that's even worse than you just
Right.
outwardly saying, like, I hate you.
Am I the asshole? I'm a double affair baby who was rejected by both sets of siblings, so I say I'm an only child. I'm 25 male, a double affair baby, meaning my mom and dad were both married to other people, cheated on their spouses, and conceived me. They ended up marrying each other after their divorces were finalized, and they raised me together. Their kids from their first marriages did not accept me and do not claim me as a sibling. I always felt their hostility when I was a kid. They were all moved out by the time I was 9, and I saw them a handful of times after. The last being 7 years ago. In those handful of times, they were very clear about not wanting to talk to me and how I was not their brother or their family. I mean, one even told me the world would be a better place if I had never been born or if I had died.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
Because of all this, I claim that I'm an only sibling when people ask. I never say I have siblings, half or otherwise. That's just my preference, and I find it easier. Plus, I only have siblings through genetics, not through a bond or anything. I'm pretty sure they would all leave me for dead on the side of the road if the chance ever occurred. This became a topic because I'm engaged to the cousin of a former childhood friend. He and I were friends most of our lives until we hit junior year, and he turned into a real dick and our friendship ended. My fiance and I met years later, and she knows my background, and she said she would also consider me an only child. She also has issues with her cousin. I didn't even realize they were related until a while later, but in the last couple of months, he appeared at a couple of family parties, and he brought up the fact that I claim the only child label. He never had an issue with it before, but he said I was being childish and a liar by claiming that I am. Then I have a few relatives, not my parents, I'm no longer in contact with them, who get upset when they realize I don't claim my siblings. We have discussed how if they don't claim me or count me when talking about siblings, then I won't count them. The family members tell me that could change and I could avoid awkwardness by letting people know if I have a relationship with any of them in the future, I won't end up with egg on my face. Am I the asshole?
What do you mean, egg on, from what?
Right.
I guess from being like, well, no, you do have siblings. And you're like, no, I
Yeah.
don't.
I'm like, if we do, now I do. I didn't before.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think you're the asshole.
Not at all.
That,
Especially if they're sitting there, no, saying you would should never been born.
yeah.
No, yeah, I don't have a sibling either.
I'm just matching the same energy that you have
Right.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
It goes
And you
along.
were an only child. You were basically raised
Right,
alone.
by yourself, pretty much.
Your parents are the assholes for not having another baby after they had the affair. They should have had two.
Mm-hmm.
To give you someone to be with.
I think it's interesting that he's no longer in contact with his parents either. But I also think in this situation, you're not the asshole, even though they're very similar. Somebody in the
'cause
comments
this is
of the first
baby
one,
writing.
Right.
yeah, this is the baby writing, but
Yeah.
somebody in the comments of the first one was saying, I think the difference is you're intending on never speaking to this person, and his siblings in this story, they were literally bullying him when he would interact with them, which is like the opposite of what you should do if you genuinely don't want to be siblings with this person or interact with them. Don't have any relationship with them. And that includes being rude or mean.
I'm curious too now, if the baby gets older and wants to reach out to the first OP, how are you going to react to that? Like, what do you do if the baby reaches out to you? Like, hey, OP, we're siblings. What do you do? Because then you have the danger of becoming this other siblings who are just like, we wish you were dead. We wish you didn't exist.
Well, you don't say that. That's number one.
But I'm like, if you don't want a relationship, like, how are you like say that to them, I guess?
I know it's not your fault, but I can't look at you.
You don't say that.
I don't know.
We were starting off somewhere,
I know
yeah.
it's not your fault. That's a good
But
story.
it brings up
I know it's not your
harsh
fault,
feelings for me or something.
and I can't have a relationship with you.
Yeah.
Maybe later on in life, but not at this point.
But that's when they're like, this is later on for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'm sorry. I'm still at a point where I
30.
can't. Yeah.
30.
Try
I don't
again
wanna
next
know
year.
you.
Okay,
Try
bye.
again next year is crazy.
And I'm 51 and I'm going to have to pass. So
I'm gonna have to, because I kind of have this. I have a sibling that I wasn't raised with who is now in my life now, and some people said you like sisters because I grew up with one sister, and then when I say sisters to people who know me, like people at church, they would just be like, "Oh, you have sisters." People are like, sisters. That's like always the thing when people at church don't like go in, they don't investigate, but they were like, and I'm like, I know this now. I have a relationship. This is what I say now. It's not a big deal. So the whole ending part, we were like, the family's mad if you have to like go back on it if you did have a relationship like that. It just changes. Like our relationship changed. Now we're siblings. Now we weren't before.
Mm-hmm.
I do have something to add, though. You know, you're talking about how this is the perspective of the baby. And what if, like, 30 years from now, once the baby's, well, even 10 or 15, once the baby's old enough to, like, potentially have a relationship with the siblings,
Yeah.
we don't know if the first OP would turn out like the second OP siblings. I think I'm just hopefully giving them the benefit of the doubt that by the time their younger sibling is old enough to even accidentally interact with them, they're speaking to them, if they do, with like a certain amount of respect and not taking the hatefulness that they have for their family or their, you know, mother or father out on them.
Yeah.
I feel like it is like one situation and then you see 15 years later from a very similar situation but different people.
Yeah.
And it could end up like that, sadly. But I hope that with time, with hopefully therapy and working on what that is and realizing who the real issue was in that relationship, it's not necessarily the baby, but I can understand how the baby is a trigger for that.
Yeah.
That if for whatever reason you do interact with your younger sibling, it is different, but you never know.
But also, OP, if you saw the story, pay attention to it because this could have been the start of the other story. They could have been kids. They see the affair baby and they're like, I hate this baby.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're interrogating, like you at least have the self-awareness, like, if I wanted to end up like this, maybe I'll do things differently or maybe I'll approach it, go to therapy, see those kinds of things. But it's very real. It could end up like baby OP in the second story.
It could.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it doesn't,
I
but
hope it doesn't
could.
because I'm like, I want baby OP to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even though you can logically be like, yeah, these are my siblings and they don't claim me, they don't want me. That hurts. It doesn't matter.
Right,
Like what
saying
you say,
it over and over again.
You can say it and you can make it feel like it's just a thing I accept. It's fine. Like that stuff hurts.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I don't want baby OP to go through that.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's weird. It's like in a way it feels like they have like a scarlet letter on them, but it's
Yeah.
Something that they had no control over.
No control
whatsoever.
over, and they're already at a disadvantage in life with their people that they should be the closest with.
Right.
I have trouble sleeping at night. And it's not falling asleep that's the problem. It's waking up every few hours and having to change my position because it's now become uncomfortable because I'm literally sagging into my old mattress. But thanks to Helix and their premium firm mattress topper, my life has been a lot better. They sent over a luxury firm one for me, which is perfect for when you have an old mattress. It's a little too saggy. It's a little too soft. And ever since I've had it, I will say my sleep has improved. Personally, for me, somebody who also gets hot at night, it's nice to know that this mattress cover is made with their Cool to Touch Glaciotex cooling cover. So I also am never getting hot anymore, which is really nice, especially with summer coming up. Helix offers a range of specialized 3-inch toppers to meet your unique preference, like Ergo Align for spinal alignment and lower back support, classic memory foam options like the one that I got in Luxury Firm, but they also have a Luxury Plush, or even Dual Comfort for couples that each have different sleep needs. And what's even better is Helix offers a 100-night sleep trial so you can try it out to see if it works for you. So go to helixsleep.com/CLP for the spring savings event going on from April 1st through April 30th, and that is 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/CLP for 20% off site-wide for the spring savings event April 1st through April 30th. helixsleep.com/CLP. Thank you to our listeners for supporting this podcast, and thank you to Helix for sponsoring this episode. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my boyfriend's bro night after he put me on the spot?
Why are you paying for his bro night?
Yeah.
That ain't my job.
No, you're
I'll
not.
pay for yours though.
Because you guys are bros.
Cousins.
Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my boyfriend's bro night after he put me on the spot? So I, 24 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 26 male, for about a year. He's super into his weekly bro nights with his friends, which I totally support. I usually just chill at home, do my own thing, no problem. This past Friday, we were out grabbing dinner when his friends called, asking him to come over for poker and drinks. He said sure, and then right in front of them turned to me and went, "Babe, you got this, right?" Meaning the bill. I was caught off guard, but figured, whatever, I'll cover dinner. But then he added, "And can you send me some money for my drinks? I'm kind of low on cash." At this point, his friends were laughing and hyping him up like, "Yeah, take care of your man." I felt super awkward and I just said, "Nope, I think you got it." He got quiet, paid for his half, and left. Later, he texted saying I embarrassed him in front of his friends and that I made him look like he doesn't wear the pants in the relationship. I told him I'm happy to treat him sometimes, but I don't like being put on the spot, especially when it's for him to go out without me. Now he's sulking and his friends are apparently joking about how he lost his sponsor. Am I the asshole for standing my ground?
You need to check what the hell's going on up in that relationship right now.
Right. The fact that they joke about that openly and say lost your sponsor, I feel like they've definitely talked about that more.
That's the best. Really?
Wow.
The support your man jokes, yeah, they've had to been on one accord.
Right.
Because, yeah.
Wear the pants.
She
can't
buys
even
me
pay
this, she buys me
You can't
that.
even buy your own shit.
Right.
Well, the friends going like, support your man. I feel like
That can be funny.
that can
That'd
be
be
funny. And
normal.
I can
Could be
see
funny.
friends doing that naturally. But I feel like anyone who actually says wear the pants, like actually really in a relationship, that's dumb. Who wears the pants? I'm like, I know you're young. Tell me you're young without telling me you're young.
But he's not that young. He's 26.
But his mindset, if you're really worried about who wears the pants, then you're immature in a relationship, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
If that's something that's really bothering you.
Yeah.
Because he was embarrassed by, like, I think the real reason he was just embarrassed by his friends. He was like, yeah, I wear the pants. Like, bro, that doesn't matter. You're in a relationship with someone who loves you. What is it? Who does what matter?
In a real relationship, we all streaking.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't.
Nobody's wearing any pants.
I didn't know.
You're not leaving this building without taking your pants off.
Oh my God. My next relationship, I'm doing it like that. I like that.
Ain't nobody
It's,
wearing the
Streaking.
pants.
I love that.
It's cheeks on the couch, actually.
I love cheeks on the couch.
We
I'm
actually
not
had to
gonna lie.
green screen some pants on.
Yeah. That's why I'm
But
wearing
actually,
a
just
blanket
to be
right
real,
now.
the Sams are wearing pants.
I am definitely
Maddie and
wearing
Brandon
pants.
are not wearing pants, and we're just all looking
It's
eye
kinda
level.
weird, but-
we're all looking eye level.
Just
No
don't
one's
look down.
looking.
Do
We're
not look
family.
down.
Hey, look
so
down.
Yeah. I'm not looking down.
Look down.
Thank God that blanket got put over here.
Take it out right now. Look down.
that's why I'm like covering my. Yeah.
The green screen budget runs out at the moment.
You know what? You guys need to see this.
Yeah. Hey, comfort level podcast.
Real relationships.
And we can finally start the OnlyFans like I've been saying. Man, this is the flagship episode.
That's where the green screen's gonna end, is on the OnlyFans.
Yeah, if you wanna see it all.
somehow turned off.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I don't think you're the asshole. Also, him like basically ending the dinner date that you guys are on in the middle of it and being
That's
like,
wild.
I'm gonna go, right? Like,
Because
what?
it's not even bro night. This is a different night that's not bro night.
It's a different night.
Yeah.
Answers the call, which is fine, but then it's like, hey, bro, let's go out. I mean, maybe in a few hours if we're done hanging out here, but otherwise,
I'm with my girl, man.
I'm on a date.
Right. That's
Oh.
it feels like a not good situation,
No.
but I'm only hearing one part. But
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I'm happy OP said no, though. I feel
Yes.
like it would be really easy to be pressured into like, yeah, sure. I mean, the phone call would have ended. I would have been like, you know what? I don't think I can do that. But maybe in the moment, I probably would have been like, yeah.
I would have been like, I got dinner, you got your own drinks.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not. I don't understand.
The own drinks thing is definitely a turn off, though. Like,
Yeah, like
you're asking me to pay for something, like she said, that I won't even be at. And it's like the way you're asking, it's like begging.
Yeah.
why would you ask that in front of your friends though? That's
Like you're
that-
trying to get
that-
approval from your friends.
That would make
No, like, see, I got this girl under control. She just gives me money.
see, but that would
Easy.
make me feel some type of way, like I'm a loser. I can't pay for my own drinks. But I
Well,
guess
now he looks like a loser. It's double loser now.
yeah.
He can't pay and he can't get his girl to pay either.
It definitely was like a weird level of him trying to be like, I got her.
I got her.
Watch
So-
this. Call me. See that. Call me up, and I'm gonna say you got this right, and then say give me some money, and she's gonna do it. Watch.
Right.
Like, yeah, okay, bro. We'll call you.
We do it. She was like, nah. I'm
So
sorry.
update, we officially just broke up.
Oh,
And that's it.
who's wearing the pants now?
We're done.
I'm glad I haven't been in the situation because since most of my friends are women, they don't do that. Like they're more like, you should go hang out with your girl more. They're always like that instead of like, hey, you want to go hang out and do something? I don't have enough guys to be like, bro, no, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wouldn't go out on a bro night anyway.
Well, I do wine nights.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, we have wine nights, but they're like, what works for your schedule?
When are
Take
you
2 months to
free?
set
when
up.
are you-
Yeah.
100%. That's why, like, there are downsides to having mostly female friends.
Yep.
But one of the good things, like, they'll be like considered around that stuff. But it does take forever to plan anything. Oh my god.
Am I the asshole for flashing my mother-in-law after she told me not to breastfeed my baby in my own house?
Nope.
I recently had a baby and I've been breastfeeding her regularly. My mother-in-law came over on short notice while I was doing chores around the house. She picked some things from our garden and chatted with me and my husband. She sat down and started watching the news on the TV. I ended up watching TV a bit later too, and I was tired. My baby started getting fussy. I pulled down my top to start nursing her. My mother-in-law swung her head over to me and gave me a look. She huffed and said, "Really? Around me? I'll just get naked too and have it all hanging out, huh?"
Okay.
And rolled her eyes at me. This isn't the first time she's done something like this, and the last time she made a comment while she was here for the day. I just took my baby into another room. Then my husband bought me a cover for my baby, but my baby doesn't like it when I use it. This time I just had enough. I didn't have it all hanging out, and I was doing it pretty discreetly, not facing her. I was tired and I wasn't really thinking. I just pulled off my top, stood up right in front of her and told her, I'll feed my baby when I want in my house. She just stared at me and I added, if you don't like it, you can leave. I sat back down and she said, I just can't believe this girl, and got up and left. My husband was there and afterwards said I didn't have to go that far. He said mother-in-law texted him angrily, but I was just tired in the moment and all I was thinking about was feeding my baby. Am I the asshole here?
I don't think so. I think titties need to be free in general.
Yeah. Maybe you could have made it a little better for the husband. I think the mother-in-law is an asshole for saying that. You're in your own house. And I understand being tired as shit or tired and just being angry and acting off a whim. But that's going to cause problems for your husband. But at the same time, that's your freaking house and she shouldn't be in there telling you how to live your life.
Because is it an asshole to just basically be provocative? Like, you're definitely making a statement. You didn't have to do that. You already found you could do other ways. Is it being an asshole to be like out there like that? Because breastfeeding is interesting. Like, I just don't think about them. Like, they're literally just feeding their child.
You don't think
it's
about
not
it.
a thing. And maybe you can have more of an issue if it's in public, like at a public place. But at your house,
I don't see why it
you shouldn't be making any comments. This is literally my house. But you took the shirt off to get a rise out of your mother-in-law.
And maybe she needed it though. I'm going to say that out loud. Like, but I feel, I don't know.
My thing is, where's like the empathy from the mother-in-law? Even in any space, if I were to accidentally walk in on a breastfeeding mother, my bad, any space, even if it was in public, because it's like, you know, that she got to do what she got to do.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it's in her house that and you have the audacity to be like, it's her house. Right. That's her property.
Right.
Well, who are you? Are you paying the bills?
Where do I go? If I can't do it here, where do I go?
Right.
I don't like that from the mother-in-law at all. I don't think she is.
Yeah.
You have to make that statement sometimes because people are just going to keep walking over you. If she was just like, well, I mean, it's my house, I promise you that mother-in-law would have another excuse. Sometimes,
she already did, man.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to
pop out and
show them.
Show both of them.
That had to be said, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad someone got it.
That was good. That's the best instance you've ever said it.
I agree. I think it's a matter of the mother-in-law wanting to be completely comfortable in somebody else's house. And by doing that, she's potentially making the person who owns the house less comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's not really fair because you wouldn't really, I don't think mother-in-law would go out of her way to even be uncomfortable for herself to make OP comfortable in her house. So yeah, was it kind of a lot? Yeah. But also, like what you guys are saying, it's a matter of making a statement.
Yeah.
To be like, I don't care what you think. I could literally have my boobs out, shirt off. It's my house and I can do what I want.
Right.
And if you don't like this,
you can
go.
Yeah.
So I feel like mother-in-law overstepped a little bit and then OP was just redirecting her.
Yeah. I agree.
But it makes sense of why she maybe did it where you might have been questioning it in the beginning, Sammy. I don't know if you still are now, but where you're like, this is a little hot, right? She said, I was tired. Mm-hmm. My baby was hungry. I feel like you just really don't have as much patience for stuff.
Right. I think we're at 100 now.
Whoa.
Yeah,
for what?
We're doing a live stream with 10 listeners, guys, if you're listening to this now.
Yeah.
If you want an opportunity to be a guest co-host for our live stream that we're doing June 14th.
Yeah.
Saturday, June 14th at 1 p.m. Click the Google form down below. Fill it out. We already have 100 submissions. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So
we're going to be closing it soon and we're going to reach out to some people and try to get this going.
Very, very soon. Am I the asshole for giving my husband exactly what he asked for?
Oh my God. You know you are.
Yeah. The way you said it, come on.
Me, 45, and hubby, 42, have been together for 23 years. During those years, we've been a strong couple, and I did everything in my power to create a home that we could grow old in together. I handled all of our finances, taxes, expenses, the kids, the pets, 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a snake. I gave affection and made myself available to him whenever he needed. Over the past number of years, my health has been in decline. I'll admit I haven't always handled it well. He'd complained that I needed to do more to take care of myself, and so I did. At the height of things, I was seeing 8 different doctors, taking 10 different medications several times a day, and working a full-time job. It just kept getting worse. I needed to sleep 12 hours a day just to function, but I did it and adjusted everything so that no one would be impacted by my declining health. About 3 weeks ago, I was in bad shape. He told me to go to the emergency room. I said that I would Uber so that it wouldn't impact his schedule. However, on the day, I was so afraid that I asked him to take me. Later, when it was time to go home, I felt overwhelmed by what happened and I asked him to pick me up. I should have just Ubered, like I said, because he came to get me and he was so upset. We ended up getting into a huge fight. He said I was being inconsiderate of his needs and that I should move out. I told him I was not going to move out and that if he was unhappy, he should leave. He proceeded to tell me that I was incapable of taking care of the house and the family in my condition and I should do the right thing and leave. I wasn't going to leave the family I built and the life I had worked so hard to create. So time went by, 2 weeks, we talked, and he told me that he wanted to be single. He didn't want to be married to me anymore, and that the sorrow he was feeling was so deep that he didn't know how he was going to get any better, but that he knew it would be inevitable that our marriage would end. A couple of weeks before my wedding, I gathered the courage to offer him a 1-month, no-contract split, and he giddily accepted it only to come to tell me that I better not try to stop him from seeing his daughter. I broke down, sobbing because this man, whom I've loved for half of my life, is treating me like I'm this evil villain, hell-bent on hurting him. In that moment, I yelled at him with tears in my eyes that I know the only person he never wants to see again is me, and I'll find a way to come to terms with that. For 30 days, he isn't welcome in my home. I blocked him from my phone, stopped sharing my location. I told our daughter, 15, that I will support whatever she wants to do, and I will be there for her no matter what. She chose to stay, but keeps the lines of communication open with her dad. I think that's healthy, and I'm proud of her, but folks are telling me I was wrong to let him leave. Am I the asshole?
I missed why. It's because OP was getting sick and having more responsibility.
I think he's saying you're declining health because you're not taking care of the household.
That's why he's like, I'm done and I want to be single.
That's what she made it. Yeah.
That I was incapable of taking care of the house and the family in my condition, and I should do the right thing and leave.
Oh, okay. So
What
I didn't
the
miss something.
what?
I thought
what?
I missed. I'm like, feels like weird that he jumped from there.
Right.
But I guess there's like, we always hear the statistic like women are more likely to stay in a relationship where the other partner is like in declining health. Men are more likely to leave in that situation, and this kind of highlights that, I guess, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get. It's funny when you talk about like the friends and family, like, why didn't you make him stay? Like, how is that even my fault?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with me at all? He's the one who wanted to leave. This was his thing. He made the suggestion. You're not the asshole at all for
Not at all.
you're actually giving it. You like, you wanted this, so here you go. This is what you wanted. It hurts me a lot, actually.
Right.
But I'm doing this for you. And half your life you've been in a relationship with this person.
That's poopy. You're inconsiderate of his schedule because you need to be picked up from the emergency room?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're going there because you got an ingrown toenail, then yeah. You know what I mean? Like if you're literally needed to go to the emergency room.
Even if it is an ingrown toenail, like, hey, we're married.
Actually, you're right. You're right.
Like,
I felt I needed to go.
Like
so, right. Yeah, I don't, what is happening?
Yeah.
But based on that reaction, he was already done.
Yeah.
He was already done. For that ER trip, it was done from there.
It was sad that the moment, though, that she needed to rely on him instead of him relying on her and everything that she does for the family and him, that he immediately was like, you're inconveniencing me, and immediately got upset and was like, this is ridiculous. I shouldn't have to give you a ride to the hospital. He also said above, when he said the whole thing about incapable of taking care of the house, he said that I was inconsiderate of his needs and that I should move out. Inconsiderate of what needs? Because it sounds like she's still doing her best to take care of the family.
Yeah.
Which was him, which was the finances, taxes, expenses, the kids, which that's a whole big thing. The pets, 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a snake. What does he do?
He works.
Sometimes he takes out
She
the
works
trash.
too. She works
takes out
full
the
time.
trash sometimes. And I think when we talk about the like division of labor and stuff, it comes up commonly.
Right.
I think people who are like probably on OP's husband's side were like this is how it is. Like this is how life is. You just need to realize actually in your head what the amount of work that they're doing is. Because I think you could get so used to like, this is how it's been. So like, because she's like a good person and she's not probably complaining, she's probably not making a big deal out of it, you're not even realizing the amount of work that she's going through. So you're like, oh, this is just status quo. Now it's slightly more, I'm doing slightly more. And to me, that's egregious. It's not what it's been. It's not been equal. You're like, maybe you should look at it like she's been doing so much because she was healthy and she could do it. Now she can't do it, and now it just needs to shift over to you. You need to take some of the responsibilities and actually realize the amount of work she's been doing over this period of time versus it was like this and now it's a little bit more on me. Because I think that's how he's saying it. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's completely ridiculous. You need to pitch in now.
Right.
It can't be like that. It was like that now, but now we got to do something different. And if that's like inconvenience to you, then did you really love her?
Or did you just love what she was doing?
Exactly.
But I do question though, because she said she doesn't handle it well. So is she like dragging it out kind of thing? Like
I let me read
Is
that
that
again, because I feel like I
rude
took
to
that to
say?
mean
I
like
don't know.
when it came to her sickness and stuff, that she initially wasn't taking her health seriously.
okay. Not that she was not handling, because okay, dudes who have a cold are the worst.
We've talked about
Yeah.
this a few episodes ago.
Crying on the couch because you got a cough. Can't go to work for 3 days because you got a cough. But no, like I shouldn't say guys. So some people can't handle that.
But we know it's guys. We know it's guys.
I don't want to put you in a bubble.
Because I've done it.
But that's what I mean when I say not handling it well kind of thing.
Yeah, she
mean-
was saying over the past number of years, her health has been in the decline, and she'll admit that she hasn't handled it well. And he would complain that I needed to do more to take care of myself, and so I did. And then she was saying that there was times where she was seeing 8 different doctors, 10 different medications several times a day, and working a full-time job. And so there was a few moments where she let a few things slip, and not only could he not pick that up, but he was like, you're now not meeting the part of the marriage that we seemingly agreed on in his head.
Right.
And so now he's like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're done.
I agree with Brandon. Like he was done.
Yeah.
And I feel like usually in these stories, someone else is in the picture. Like when someone's like that, they probably got some emotional thing with another person who's light and easy. They don't have all that baggage of my partner. And him being so adamant, like, I want to be single. I'm like,
I feel that too.
Why you need to be single now?
Yeah.
Why does it need to be so quick?
So it's actually great that she was like, okay, take your 30 days. Go see how your little grass is greener on the other side is. Motherfucker. No, I'm just kidding.
But I'm not taking you back after the 30. Like,
Right?
I'm not getting back with, like, I don't know if it's 30 days. I'm like, it's it.
Right.
We're not going on break. I don't know what you're doing out there.
If you actually want to take the contract or the whatever, no contact or whatever it is, then that shows that you just honestly don't care anyway.
Right.
So top comment, girl, you need to divorce him ASAP. He's an absolute garbage human being and you deserve so much better after everything you've done for him. And then OP responded and said, I can't bring myself to see a life without him. He's right. I am only going to get sicker. And when he told me that he wanted to be single because he wouldn't have the burden of taking care of me, I felt all the air leave the room. Even now, I'm asking myself, how can I fix this? And then somebody else responded, he doesn't take care of you though, does he? He didn't even want to drive you to the hospital. Your life without him would be about the same as your life with him, except you wouldn't have a selfish dickhead loitering around making your poor health about himself.
What does for better or worse even mean?
Right.
Like, I feel like people are not responding to these vows at all. They don't actually believe them.
Nope. They want to get married. They're happy in love. And then it comes to time to being real and shit breaks down.
First inconvenience.
I really hope she didn't get like any like mental like damage from him, like if he was like abusive or anything, because even her asking like if she's in the wrong and like not seeing all the wrong that's been done to her in this scenario is very, very concerning. I feel really sad.
Honestly, she probably does, because it is really sad in this situation that she's like, I can't live without him. I want to be with him. Because even after he's said that stuff straight to her face, she's like, we can't work on this.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that is maybe signs of him beating you down over time to the point where you're like, this is what I want. This is who I want. I'm willing to accept any behavior that he gives me, instead of somebody who might be like, at a certain point, you're going to treat me well. And then if you treat me below this level, that's when I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Whether you're who you are now or whatever, like,
Because
I'm not
like,
just going to stay with you.
It's like not even I can't fathom that him not taking her to the hospital wasn't even like a thought in her mind that would be like, hey, I should look at you sideways because you didn't even do this.
Right. But I also feel like people, I do anyway, like when I break up with somebody, I always feel like, oh, I should have done something better, or like, was there something that I could have done, or even if they've messed up, I don't know. Maybe it's just.
And I think at
need
some
to love
points,
yourself
like,
more,
that's
kind of
a
thing.
healthy thing to be like, hey, I could have contributed. But there's a point where you're like, okay,
Right.
girl, he shot like 12 people or something.
Right.
Oh, you're talking about shooting 12 people?
Yeah. Well,
That's out of context.
Were you or were you not talking about shooting 12 people?
I guess I did say shooting 12 people. I'm like, that's what I said, actually. Yeah, that's what I said. Because I think there's like a middle line. Some people go through life in relationships, they never take any accountability. They're like, they did everything.
Right.
Yeah, they did everything. And I'm like, I think that's too far on one side. And there's other people who are like, well, maybe I didn't. As they're doing actively bad things, they're like, well, I did like kind of yell at him, or I kind of said something, or I didn't fold his clothes or something like that.
Yeah.
And thinking like that's the reason why he's acting like this. And we're like, no, that ain't true too.
Right.
So just like have a healthy self-awareness, but be also aware of what they're doing as well.
Right.
Because you're, especially from what you're describing, you're going through a health crisis. You're declining. Like this is somewhere where you would need your partner to lean on, and they're not doing it for you. You should expect that.
And he straight up said, I'm not taking care of you. What?
I'm like, yes, you are.
Like you said, what does he do?
I know. Yeah. It is a little sad, because like Brandon was mentioning, just how OP feels that she's willing to want to be with this man after all the stuff that he said, and how she wants her family, and that includes him.
Yeah.
But I don't know, hopefully maybe her reading more of the messages, and I assume honestly that he will keep the no contact for 30 days.
He absolutely is
And
gonna
I just
use it
feel like
up.
maybe that's going to open her eyes up or something. Maybe time away will make her realize, like the commenter was saying, your life is going to be no more harder or difficult if he's there. If
Right.
anything, it's going to be less annoying, and you won't have somebody belittling you and
Right.
complaining about how much of a nuisance you are, which maybe is what you're talking about earlier, Brendan, of him kind of beating her down, making it seem like, girl, you need to take care of your health. This is your fault. This is your problem to deal with. I'm
Yeah.
not taking you to the hospital. Who made you sick?
Yeah, because there is that abuse where they might not even be saying outright like no one will love you, like I'm the only one who will love you, but everything they say evokes that sentiment, like
Everything's your fault.
yeah, like you really are not good enough for anybody. Like I'm really only one putting up with you, and you can just say it with little snide comments here and there. And if you're not actively saying like this is not true, this is like I'm not that person, you start to believe it. You're like, actually, all right, like maybe I am not that great, and this is really my only shot at any love or any relationship. And believing that over time, that's tough to just unlearn.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be like, no, actually, that's not true. You're like, actually, I start to believe it, and I think this is me.
Yeah. Sammy, thanks for coming back.
Someone in the building.
Thanks for having me.
I thought he was going to keep going. That was really satisfying. I just liked it.
Oh, dang. I don't feel anything.
All right. So, and we're out of here. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Inception.
No. Have you ever woken up with like a swollen, itchy eye and you Google it or check TikTok just to see what's wrong? I think we've all done that with something. We've all gone down that rabbit hole. But I think it's time we get the health and care that we really need with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality, in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 100,000 doctors across every specialty. That's mental health, dental health, primary care, urgent care, and more. You can filter for doctors who take insurance, are located nearby, and a good fit for any medical need you might have, and are highly rated by verified patients. Once you find the right doctor for you, you can see their actual appointment openings. You can choose a time slot that works for you, and you can click to instantly book an appointment. Appointments made through ZocDoc happen fast, usually within 24 hours to 72 hours of booking, even sometimes same-day appointments. I use this product, and you should too. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/CLP to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/CLP. ZocDoc.com/CLP. Thanks again for listening and using ZocDoc, and thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this episode. Tonight's stories.
Choose me!
Family therapy.
Being inappropriate.
Who's the father?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Comfort Level Podcast. I'm Maddie, and I'm here with...
Brando.
Sam.
Joshua.
Hey, Josh is back. Perfect intro.
Perfect intro.
Got
Man.
it first take.
It's
We
never
always
getting
nail it with
better than
Josh.
that. It's never gotten better than that. We need a supercut of every bad intro that we've ever had.
This intro was very good to me. Just hit the like and subscribe. Just for that.
Actually, I did hate this intro. I don't know why Maddie
Dang.
forced me to say who's the father.
What would you have said?
Anything else?
So you would have said refusing?
Sam, please.
Oh, I forgot.
Sam.
Your dad.
Oh, and then she emphasized
forgot?
it. She
Oh,
emphasized
nah.
it.
There's nothing to
in the
remember in her
headphones.
eyes because there's no
Sam.
dad to
All I heard
remember.
was
Sam, it's all right. It's okay.
Now there's an echo of...
Who's my dad?
Oh, wow. He's got a tight hand strength. Okay.
Who's my...
Sam.
Oh.
So we gotta chill. Chill. We are
friends.
Yeah.
friends.
We are...
Quit playing, man.
I was waiting for you to do it because you always do it.
That one was a rough one. I had to let it simmer for a little bit.
Well, I'm sorry about that, Sam. I don't know why we were upset about it.
I
We're
wish
gonna
you would
move
tell your
on and-
face that you're sorry. There's glee in your eyes. There's happiness.
I was trying to be genuine. I just...
Okay.
Sorry, my face sometimes just holds
It
a
betrays the
spirit of
truth.
happiness.
It
The
betrays
truth of
the
what you're
truth.
doing.
I was trying to be genuine,
Yeah.
but I didn't catch that. That's my bad. Am I the asshole for not letting my parents be involved grandparents because they chose my sister's friend over me?
Huh.
Well,
I'm 25, female, pregnant with my first child, and only a few weeks ago, my estranged parents found out about my pregnancy from someone I know back in my hometown. They reached out, so excited to find out they were going to be grandparents and wanting to be involved, but I ignored them and continued ignoring them until 2 days ago, when I replied one time and made it clear that they will never know my child or be in their lives and that I wanted them to stop contacting me. This was all via email, by the way. Let me get into some background. I have an older sister, Sam, 28 female, and she had a best friend, Luna. Sam and Luna were in pre-K and became fast friends. Luna was over at our house all the time, and eventually she started saying really awful things to me and bullying me. She called me names, mocked me whenever I asked if I could spend time with her and Sam, threw stuff at me when she'd see me, and even made a game out of spitting at me and seeing how many times she could hit me.
Oh.
My parents knew, and they did nothing, but once I was 7, they sat me down and told me that Luna had a bad time at home and she was mean, but she needed us and I needed to understand. And how Luna was so important to Sam and she would grow into a better person if we didn't abandon her. She used to come along to extended family parties and dinners. I remember one time Mom's side was all meeting up, and because my parents didn't say Luna was coming, we were a chair short for a bit. Luna took the chair and then said there was no room for me at the table, just like there wasn't room for me anywhere, and I should cry in a corner somewhere.
Dang.
Mom's family were horrified, and I started to cry. I was like 9 by then.
Oh my gosh.
My grandparents ended up leaving the table and getting one for just the 3 of us, and they spoiled me while they refused to pay for a single thing Luna consumed. They asked me what was going on too, and I told them everything. Afterwards, my parents got so much shit from Mom's side of the family, and my mom's parents contacted my dad's parents, and they were shamed by both sides. When they had enough of that, my parents told Sam that Luna needed to come over less, or she needed to be nicer. They sort of stuck to that for a while. My grandparents checked in on me weekly to see if my parents were letting that spoiled little madam into the house to abuse me, and I think that was the deterrent for my parents. But then when I was 12, my parents let Luna move in with us. They said her home situation was worse, and she was going to apologize, and we were going to make sure she felt wanted and welcomed with us. I got a sorry, I guess, from her, but I could hear her making fun of me to Sam whenever me and my parents weren't around. She'd laugh about how I looked betrayed when my parents told me she was moving in. She found it hilarious. I think you can see whose side Sam was always on. I lived like that for a little over a year before it got to be too much. I told my grandparents Luna was living with us. They went ballistic on my parents, and after a few weeks or months of fighting about it, my grandparents insisted I was going to move in with them. My parents protested against it, but my grandparents said they couldn't be trusted to take care of me. My parents wouldn't kick out Luna for me, so yeah, I live with my grandparents the rest of the time, and I actually live in the same neighborhood as them with my partner now. I actually had 0 contact once I moved in with my grandparents. These emails were the first contact in more than a decade. My parents keep replying to that one email. I got like 4 within a few minutes after an hour I sent it, and they're telling me that I'm taking this too far. They said Luna isn't even in the picture anymore. Am I the asshole?
No. Wow. Luna's a supervillain. The grandparents, grandparents, clap it up for the grandparents. You feel me? Yeah, what?
That's crazy.
And usually when these stories are like, yeah, like someone's being chosen over someone else, it's metaphorical.
Mm-hmm.
This was literal. So the fact that this literally played out as the parents choosing her, because there's I can't remember who was telling me, but they're saying, you know, take care of home before you take care of someone else. Do well for yourself before you do good for others. And that's always stuck with me. And I'm just seeing this play out, and I'm like, everything's not well at your home. Your daughter's suffering, and you're going to do good for someone else. That's backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think you're definitely not the asshole. You literally got bullied and your parents, because they didn't say no, they were in a way saying yes by letting it happen. And like in this situation, just because Luna has a bad life at home doesn't mean that she can bring that here and be bad and terrorize here. Like, I'm sorry that you have a bad home life, but that doesn't mean you can be bullying my child.
Right.
And honestly, I don't even want to I'm kind of upset at the sister too. You need better friends who's not bullying your little sister.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely could have been a moment where, you can say that it takes a village to raise a child. You're not my child, but if we care about you, like you're
Right.
kind of a daughter to us, if you want to be here, you can't be like that. We need to discipline you in a certain way or
Right.
correct you in a certain way. And yeah, definitely protect your children. Like, just because you want to appease this child who it's heaven here, you're making it hell for your child.
100%.
Yep.
And no matter what, if nobody's like gonna discipline Luna at her house, and you're not gonna discipline her here or correct her here, then she's gonna grow up and become like a tyrant as she gets older. Like,
Right. Yeah.
she's gonna be somebody that is gonna terrorize it for other people. Like, I feel like it's always a benefit to correct your children.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going to correct them along the way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And then I think the parents saying that she's not even in the picture anymore is such a cop out for them, because I don't care that she's not in the picture anymore. You weren't in the picture for half my life.
Right.
Why would that even matter?
Yeah.
That makes me even more upset.
Right.
yeah, I'm just going to read top comment, that little blurb about what you just said. They said Luna isn't even in the picture anymore. This is the part that rips my heart out. Luna isn't even around anymore and they still didn't contact you?
Right.
That's messed up. No contact forever. Your child willingly chooses to leave your house and then you never reach out to your child?
Right.
Like, what's going on here? I feel really bad for OP.
Yeah. There's some stories where I'm like, I feel like children have to give their parents like a little bit of grace for situations because they make mistakes. They don't always do things right, but this is completely different. Like you're saying, you made your daughter's life hell. You brought hell into her home so she couldn't even go home and like feel safe. She was going home and literally being bullied and destroyed all the time. Good thing she had family to be on her side, because some people don't even have that. They're like, just do whatever your mom and dad says. They won't help anything else. Grab the grandparents did come in and like, yeah, we're gonna get you out of that situation.
Right.
For the parents, you lost, I think. Just saying like they didn't wait. They waited all that time to contact her. You're only even contacting me because you want something. You want access to your grandkid. You should have been doing the road work for that, because we got to get over this.
Yeah.
There's a lot we got to get over. So if you actually do want a relationship with me, you should have started years ago.
Yep.
This is so sick and twisted that it's weird that they wouldn't put a stop to this. Like, you're spitting at my kid
Yeah.
and you think you're
Right.
going to come in my house again?
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
the worst.
Yeah, I feel like the grandparents did what the parents should. Like you were
Yeah.
saying earlier, of like, by you not addressing this and making sure it doesn't happen again, you are basically letting your kid know that it's okay.
You're like enabling it.
Yeah.
Because now Luna's like, oh, I can spit at you and your parents aren't going to do
I
anything.
whatever I want.
I can do whatever I want to you. I can say stuff to you. I can take your little chair. If there's no chairs at this thing, one of the parents should be getting up and be like, hey, Luna, go ahead and take a seat.
Right.
I'll go find a chair.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you making your kids and your kid's friend like fight for a chair?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And there's one side where we can say like, oh, they're trying to like help this troubled girl. But I'm like, I do think there should be favoritism between your kids and other kids.
Right.
I do think you should play favorites to them and show favoritism to them over some other random kid.
Right.
Even
And
if
I
it
feel
is your
like that
kid's
would
friend.
make sense.
Yeah.
When you have this other kid in your house instead of your kid.
Right.
I feel like you would come to your senses at least and be like, dang, okay, yeah, this ain't right. Like, my kid's over with my grandparents and I have like a kid in her place. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that should be like a wake up sign or something. Yeah, man. I really can't believe that they like refused to let her back in the house.
Like
this
this
next
next
story.
Wow.
Good
Because
thing you did it, 'cause I
honestly-
was about to do it right after you.
I knew
was good.
I knew there was like this like 1.1 second of silence and I'm like, oh no, they're about to hit it. I said, no, I need to do this now.
Am I the asshole for refusing to drive if my wife is in the car? For years after we got married, I could never figure out why I would be so angry and moody anytime my wife and I went somewhere. Then it finally clicked. I was only in a bad mood if I drove with my wife. My wife is the absolute worst backseat driver I've ever seen. Doesn't matter how I drive, she still finds things to complain about. Why'd you go this way? If you would have went that way, we would have been there by now. You're driving too fast. You're driving too slow. You could have made that light unfucking real. That light was red. You blew through it. Can you brake any harder, idiot? There were 17 great parking spots, and you had to choose parking spot number 8, which is the absolute worst. You turn your blinker on too late. You turn your blinker on too early. Why are you accelerating so slowly? Whoa, was it necessary to accelerate that quickly? Etc. So for the past couple of years, I have refused to drive. I now make her do all the driving, and lo and behold, I'm no longer a grumpy person when we travel. She has now gotten upset that she is always driving and told me that I needed to at least split driving 50-50 with her. I told her if she could keep her opinions to herself while I was driving, then I would. She agreed. So last weekend I started driving. She couldn't even last 3 minutes without criticizing me. I pulled over and I told her I'm done. Either she takes over driving or we're going home. She eventually took the wheel. As she muttered that I drive like a moron, even though there's only one of us who has any tickets and has at-fault accidents on their record.
Ooh.
And it's not me.
Ooh.
Clock the T. Clock it.
So am I the asshole for refusing to drive if she's present?
No.
I don't like that
The
she's speaking to her
respect,
husband like
yes,
that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's not
I want to
respectful.
find out like the root of it. Like, where is this coming from? You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's usually always like a place where like meanness and just like I don't know, just bad things.
I'm thinking it's insecurity. She got all those stuff on her record. She's like, you're not doing it. And it's like, nah, I don't got any tickets. You the one with the tickets.
I wonder if a certain form of it is control, though. Like, not necessarily the criticism where you're literally calling your partner names for
Right.
driving so bad,
That
but
is crazy.
where you're trying to control of like, well, you should have parked there or you should have parked there, because
That's
they're
the
one of the
crazy
people who
things.
go from driving and controlling what happens to I'm taking my hands off the wheel literally, and that's a lot harder to do when you're kind of used to running things. But I still don't understand. Like, I understand backseat driving can be annoying. I do it unintentionally. It's in my head most of the time, but sometimes it does come out. And yeah,
But that's something people need to learn. Like, people, if you're a backseat driver, you have to learn. It's not helpful to say
Right.
things most. Actually, I wouldn't even say a lot of the time it's helpful at all to backseat drive. So I'm like,
Because it's usually after the fact.
it's
too.
always after. You're always after what the thing happens is.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I'm like, I know in my head, I'm like, they went this way.
But I
I'm-
still
I'll
don't
say in my
understand
head.
the disrespectful words like the name calling. I don't get that. That's horrible.
That's what
like
changes
Yeah.
it, the backseat driving to something like sinister.
Yeah.
that's where it creates like couples counseling of like, hey, don't call me that. I don't even know if you're joking, but I really do not appreciate you speaking to me like that. And I'm happy that he's happy and he's like, as long as I'm not driving, that
That's
part of her doesn't
awesome.
come out, but that would bother me. That would really upset me.
That would be interesting if that is the only time, because it is weird if that is the only time she speaks like you to that is when you're driving, but she's fine every other time. But that doesn't seem.
Yeah.
Me calling my partner an idiot and a moron doesn't seem like something I'm just like holding to one part of my life.
Right.
Especially
Yeah, it's
when you're
probably
supposed to speak
spilling out.
life.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Got to speak like.
I'm not calling my partner stupid, man.
Yeah, because it's just like, you know what I mean? You want to put out good into the atmosphere so you get that back. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's not the best type of situation, at least speak it as it's so that you're not perpetuating it. And that's hard. You have to like untrain yourself to do that because you want to call it as it is. Like, oh, this person lies all the time. This person is a liar, whatever. But then you're just perpetuating,
Right.
you know, what they're doing. So say
My
something
little
different.
Lightning McQueen.
Ka-chow.
Ka-chow.
That's what you gotta say to your man, man. Ka-chow.
Wow.
We made it. Ka-chow. Top comment. She's calling you an idiot and a moron. It sounds like you came up with a perfectly reasonable solution. She can't complain about your driving and force you to drive and call you names.
Right.
That's not okay. I think you did the right thing and you're not the asshole.
But should strongly consider couples therapy.
Right. Something not right.
Yeah.
Something not right.
I won't say I was overlooking it, but the fact that she is just calling the names, like, and then he's just willingly accepting it. I don't know.
Well, he did say that he said, I can never figure out why I was so angry and moody anytime my wife and I went somewhere. So he did change it, but he's not necessarily changing the root of the problem, which is his wife, like complaining about stuff like that.
Or talking.
He found a solution
like
to make sure they're still together without having to really dig too much deeper into it.
Yeah, no, you got to unpack that.
But
you
no,
have to.
For the success of the relationship.
We talked about it. You said you wouldn't do it, and then 3 minutes in, you're already
3 minutes.
You're already like calling me a moron, an idiot again.
You can't even make it a car ride.
Man.
You can't even just be like when you're about to say something, and then you're like,
right, and try and
or you're like breathing through your nose, like.
That would actually make me more mad. the size,
Well, you get what now?
and then if it was me, I'd be like, I'm not saying anything.
Nothing.
I'm not saying anything. Keep going. You're doing great.
Right.
You're doing great. You're like, okay.
I mean, I would have stayed on the road more, but that's just me. I wouldn't have done that, but that's cool.
We passed 4 different spots. Like, what are we looking for at this point?
Ted's driving.
Bane
just. Well, who's got more tickets?
That's totally how he's saying
That's when I was younger. That's when I was younger.
And it can be tough in relationships where your partner knows exactly what can make you mad. So when they use it against you, I'm like, that's malicious. You know exactly what pushes my buttons.
Right. Yeah.
Doing things to actively make me mad.
That's the bothersome thing too, is like they've already had that conversation. At least in that moment, she knows.
Right.
You're not making any effort to change your behavior if you know that it's bothering your partner so much. If you know that you wouldn't want to be talked to that way.
Yeah.
There's no attempt. Like, you cannot push past these thoughts in your mind. They must come out. It's like
you're an adult.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Like, at least, he probably wants to see some effort. If he addressed the situation and, talked about how he wasn't okay with something, and then for it to happen the exact same way again with no hesitation, it's like, dang.
No hesitation.
Yeah.
She was just being inappropriate. Like this next story.
I need to just cut in.
You were waiting for the conversation to
I was
end.
just about to say.
I waited for it to end too. What you're going to do being inappropriate? Am I the asshole because I think my husband's female friend is being inappropriate?
No.
Nah.
If it's a thought, yeah.
Yeah,
and plus,
boundaries.
Female intuition.
Female intuition.
She got that.
My husband, 40 male, N, has worked at a job where he was the top supervisor of his department. For a while, there was an employee, 25-ish to 28, female K, that he was mentoring. For context, this is a job that requires a specialized degree and internship. I also have the same degree and job, but I do more freelance work. When K worked with N, she was also a supervisor, but just underneath him. N was the head supervisor for the department, and K was a mid-level supervisor, along with another person, S, 40s male, also married. N always thought K was a super prodigy, and he mentored her a lot. This was fine, nothing weird, because I understand how the industry works, and I know that mentoring younger people in the career is normal. When K left the job, N maintained a friendship and communication with her because she still wanted his guidance and mentorship. I was fully aware of this, and I knew they would talk about work stuff often. I have also known Kay for the entire time, and we've always been cordial. We spoke friendly enough at work events for their company. I was invited to her wedding and graduation party with N. She has never purposely excluded me from any events that she invited N to. I've tried multiple times to show her kindness and extended friendship to her, but she is not receptive. For example, for graduation, I put together an amazing gift for her because we share an interest in the same hobby. So I gifted her high quality supplies for it. She was aware that the gift was put together by me because N told her that I did, but she only wrote a thank you note for N for the gift and years of mentorship. She literally did not even acknowledge me in the note at all. I've also invited her to social events that I was hosting, but she always turned them down. Here's the current issue. Kay is getting divorced. She texted N and told him all about it, and then she suggested that they should go out with S to catch up. Originally, the plan was to get brunch on a weekend and catch up, but now Kay has turned the get-together into a full dinner and drinks. When Kay shared these plans with N and S, her exact text, I saw it on N's phone, was, "So which one of you guys is going to buy me my drinks?" I know it could be an innocent text between them, but it struck me as flirty and inappropriate. Also, this woman is gorgeous and intelligent. She reminds me of Izzy from Grey's Anatomy. In general, she would be a very desirable woman. So it just feels weird to me that this newly single woman would reach out to 2 married men and suggest they all go out and buy her drinks. I mentioned this to N, and he said it was because Kay is younger than us and is still in her party phase, and she didn't mean anything by it. But he mentioned to Kay that maybe they should just do dinner and skip the drinks because I thought it was weird. Kay flipped out. She called me a bitch and is saying that I'm slut-shaming her and accusing her of husband stealing. So am I wrong to think it was inappropriate? Am I the asshole? It's not like full-on evidence.
No.
It's really just intuition.
But that's where I'm at. I'm like, trust your gut.
And at the end, her freaking out is weird.
That was the only questionable thing to me.
Yeah.
Because early on, I'm like, especially when she was like, well, she's pretty too. And I'm like, okay, this might be an insecurity thing. But that reaction, that's something.
Yeah.
There's something on that.
That's the start of evidence.
Right, yeah, that's the start of evidence.
And I don't know, I couldn't see myself hanging out with somebody that calls my significant other out of her name.
Right?
After that point, there's no need. There's nothing I can do for you.
Right.
That's what top comment said. They're like, now your husband has a good excuse to not go out to dinner because he's not going to hang out with somebody. Basically exactly what you said.
Yep.
Yeah. I do think, because at first when I was reading it, I was waiting for like the big like ka-chow moment.
Right. Yeah.
To Cars earlier. Hopefully I was able to keep that in. Maybe I wasn't. And I was more confused towards the end, but then rereading it, it's that little moment of maybe potentially assuming defensiveness of exactly what her intentions were, and maybe that's why she went so far right when it really was left. I don't know.
But this would be a great story because where I would love to hear the other perspective, like hear what she thinks. Because I'm always, because we have our minds where we think a certain way and we're seeing situations a certain way. Yeah. We let things support our narrative very easily. So
for agreement.
Yeah, exactly, for agreement. So like you're thinking this way and you're like, man, she didn't even thank me for my gifts. And like stuff like adds up to like support what you think is going on. Yep. And maybe on her side, she's like, I didn't even think about any of that stuff. I'm like, I am offended that you think I would go for your husband. I'm like cordial to, even though cordial's a weird, I hate when people say cordial because cordial seems like I don't like you. When everyone says cordial, it's like I don't like you at all. but she could be on the other side like, I'm fine. Like I'm just, your husband's my mentor. I don't really want to be close to you. I just want a relationship with him, but I'm going to be cordial with you and like be fine, and that's it. But just because we're a man and a woman, then it's shady.
I think the other thing though is you can be my mentor or whatever, but now it seems like at least personally you're trying to go out as friends, not alone, right, but with somebody else because she's getting divorced. So it's not even like you can use the excuse of, well, that's like my mentor, but that's not the intention of this dinner. Right. Whether it just seems like it's more friendly to hang out with friends, or it could be romantic or whatever, or leading to something past that like mentee mentor relationship.
So she should be invited.
Yeah, right. Why wouldn't you invite the wife?
Thing that she should be invited.
And I feel like they have rapport because she's been to so many different events where she was there and stuff like that. Right. And I don't know, I'm really on like this like trust your gut kick right now because I'm learning to trust mine. And so I'm just like, okay, that note really kind of threw me off because I'm like, okay, you didn't mention anything because she went out of her way to do something specific that she knew that you liked. And
the husband said it was
exactly
that OP made it.
And so you didn't even put anything about it in the note.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that is weird.
Your attention is elsewhere. That's where that gut intuition comes in. Not saying that it's on that side, but it's leaning more and more.
Yeah. Because I think what you said earlier of all these things leading up to our narrative, I think, honestly, I feel like she's giving whatever her name is a lot more benefit of the doubt, where she's like, she's the mentee, they hang out, that's totally fine. Yeah, like, I trust my husband. But then talking about the note thing, talking about something else where I feel like they are valid to lead up to, this is why I kind of think she doesn't like me. Yeah. And then for her to have such an outburst of, even if I were to be offended of like, listen, I'm so sorry, girl, but I don't even think about you like that. Like, you're not even in my mind. I wouldn't be so upset that I would call her a bitch.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's where it's like,
Right.
the more I keep thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, this is suspicious.
The lady doth protest too much.
Yes.
What was that,
That's
Macbeth?
Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah.
Second episode in a row getting a genuine applause. Yeah. I was just gonna just double down on what you're saying, because if nothing was truly going on, why make a scene out of it?
Right.
That's still what gets me too. There's no reason for you to make a scene if you're truly not guilty.
Because I can understand the husband being like, what are you talking about? Because if the husband doesn't have that intention, then he'll be like, I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking. She could be, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that, she trusting your gut, reacting too much to it. That's kind of fishy.
Yeah.
It's not even a mentee-mentor thing.
Yeah.
And you guys are hanging out. And
They could use some family therapy.
Like this next story.
I saw your face.
No, you're sick.
I saw your
You're
face.
sick.
You gotta tell your face to be cool, man.
I was wondering why he was smirky.
He was like looking around.
I couldn't hold it. Oh my God. Why?
Oh, that felt good.
It's okay.
Am I the asshole for not making the truth sound nicer in family therapy and standing by what I said?
No.
No, therapy, you gotta say it like it is. You say
Right, yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
Speak
You know,
truth.
you got a mediator, so throw it out how you feeling, and then they help interpret.
My mom died when I, 17 male, was 4. My dad sent me to live with his parents immediately after. He said he couldn't cope without mom and wanted me to have a stable life. I still saw him and stuff, but he wasn't raising me. That was left to my grandparents. They encouraged him to see me as much as he could, and he'd try and swing by at least once a week, but that didn't always happen. It was really awkward, and I remember being kind of sad about it for a year or more, and then it just became my new normal. When I was 8, my dad announced that he was moving, and he wasn't sure when he'd come back. I didn't see him for more than 2 years, and when he moved back, he wanted me back. I was 10 by then. He was a stranger to me then too, so I didn't want to live with him, and my grandparents didn't want me to be taken back like that. Dad told him it was fine, and he met someone, and we all moved in together in a few months. They said it was even more of a reason for me to stay because I wouldn't adjust well to random people coming in and living with me. He said they're not random. I was about to have a new mom and a brother. They wanted to know if he had a kid with someone, and he said no. His fiance had a kid already, but he was going to be raising him as his own. My dad started a court battle with my grandparents when his wife moved to town to live with him, but they weren't married at the time. Dad said he'd been patient, but he didn't like that they were keeping me from him. I told him I didn't want to live with him, but he ignored me when I said it. And after months of fighting in court and me talking to the people from the court, my dad won. It took almost a year though, and I was almost 12 by then. But I was forced to live with him and his wife and her son and their baby they just had. My dad was acting like I never lived apart from him, and his wife was acting like she was my mom. She'd tell me what to do. You need to play more sports, spend less time with these friends because I don't like them, spend time with your brother, and expect me to help out around the house and help her specifically. She said it was good for us to make up for all the time we lost. So I just have to sit with her while she cooked and stuff, and she'd give me consequences for having an attitude about it. And whenever I told her she wasn't my mom, she would give me even more consequences. I'd stopped calling my dad years before he took custody of me back, and that was something he tried to change when I moved in with him. He'd tell me that I had a mom and a dad and a brother and a sister, and using names and not acknowledging the family relationships were wrong. I told him they weren't really my family, and he'd spent time telling me they were and why I needed to be more open-minded about it. I never called him dad again, and I'm only doing it here for the sake of the post. I never called his wife mom or the kids my siblings. I never wanted to be a part of their family, and it started to impact my grades. My grandparents used that and some other stuff when I was 15 to fight for custody again. They were denied originally, but then it became a bigger fight. I had to speak to a therapist, someone from the court system, a gal and a children's advocate person, not the gal, but somebody else. And after a lot of discussing what was the best for me and figuring out other stuff, as well as me studying up on how to speak more maturely so I could get a judge to listen to me, the judge let me go back to my grandparents, but ordered that I would take part in family therapy with my dad until I turned 18. That was almost a year ago, and I was 16 when that happened. I didn't really take the therapy sessions seriously, and I take them less seriously after Dad went back to court to ask his wife to be included in the sessions, which the judges allowed. So now I have to see both of them once a week for an hour. I don't say anything in therapy usually. I don't like the therapist, and I have my own, so I don't need to speak for anything. But a few weeks ago, I did speak up because the therapist told me everyone needed to be honest at least once, and that I might as well say whatever it was that goes through my head. So I said I stopped wanting him back and wanting to live with him when I was about 6 or 8, and then I stopped wanting to be a part of his family again. I said he wasn't a good dad just because he tried, but only when his wife came into his life. It didn't mean I was okay with that. And I said the whole thing of having a new mom and a brother was wrong because my mom died, and some strange pushy lady he met somewhere wasn't going to take her place just because she wanted some perfect family image. I said they tore me away from my home and the parents who raised me so they could play at being good people. I said a stranger told me who I could and couldn't be friends with and what kind of hobbies I should have. I said I was punished for saying she wasn't my mom when she wasn't. I said they had brought up their kids, hurting and missing me, and I said it was their fault because Dad ignored me when I said I didn't want to live with them. I said I wasn't ever going to want a relationship with their kids because to me, blood doesn't make us siblings. It makes us related. And the same with one being raised by my dad. It makes us sort of related, but not family, not siblings. And the more they keep expecting that to change, the more they hurt their kids. My dad really didn't see what I said coming. His wife didn't look surprised, but more offended that I basically said she was nothing but a stranger to me when she was trying to play mommy. I got shit from them and the therapist for not making the truth kinder. The therapist said I can clearly speak with maturity in court, so being nicer about the truth would have been far better. After that, I stopped speaking again, but it has come up since then. Am I the asshole?
No.
The therapist said that?
Yeah.
Right. It's like, what? You just told me to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I told the truth. And you're like, oh, you could have found a better way to put it. Like, no, that was the truth. That's super frustrating. And I feel like the immaturity of the parents is trickling down into the kids' relationship of like, she could have a good relationship with her stepbrother and sister, but it's like one of those situations where like you're already washing the dishes or you were just about, you're on your way walking to wash the dishes, then somebody walks up and it's just like, you know, you need to go wash the dishes, right? And then you're like, nah, I don't even want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's OP's situation with like her siblings is like, okay, I already was going to build a relationship with, you know, my step siblings, but the fact that you're forcing it on me and like, oh, this is something that you have to do. Now I don't want to do it. And yeah, I feel like the parents glossed over a lot of the situation. The dad, especially, like not addressing the death and acknowledging, you know, the dead wife because that's OP's mother, you know, and OP's still dealing with that trauma, and I don't think they ever really got to find a healthy way to move on because the dad was avoidant. That's the whole reason why OP went with the grandparents. So that was something that needed to be addressed to be able to move on, like they tried to force OP to do.
Yeah.
And then this is a whole new mother-like figure. You can't just go in and like forcibly say, oh, I'm your new mom now, whatever. Like, no, you'll never be her mom unless she wants you to fill that role.
Oh, OP's a boy, by the way.
Oh, his
Unless he wants you to fill that role.
Thank you. Sorry, OP. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think if the parents were to really truly want the best, like if OP's dad really wanted the best for him, he should have listened to what OP wanted. Like, yeah, I'm sorry I had to leave when, you know, you were younger. You're in a different place now. You seem to be in a better place. I want to come back. I want to be in your life. But this is up to you. I mean, I know I'm a parent, but he kind of gave up his parental rights in a certain way.
Yeah.
When he was like, I'm not going to take care of you anymore. Your grandparents are. So even though he does have rights to you, it was like he was able to just like leave you for a certain period of time until he got better. And I think it should have been more of a discussion to include OP, even though OP was like a tween and now a teenager, to be like, hey, so it's important where you grow up, and I don't want to add any more trauma to your life of what already happened, of your mom passing away and then me leaving. So both of your parents left, and I'm sorry about that. But do you want to live with me? Is there any way that we could have a relationship instead of being like, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen? And the same with OP's stepmom of saying, I'm your mom now. I feel like that's the worst way to go about it, of like, hey, I'm a parental figure in your life.
Yeah.
I want the best for you. I want to help you. But I don't want to take the place of your mother. Like, that is really weird of, like OP was saying, if they had a certain idea and ideal of what they wanted their family to be, and they were just going to put him in that place and force him to make him fit the mold.
Right.
And it's not fair. I don't think you're the asshole for being honest. I think Sam might touch on it more, but his reaction about the therapist in the beginning of, your therapist asked you to speak freely, and then the moment you speak freely and you're honest about it, it's like, well, you could have said it in a better way. It's like, do you want me to speak freely or not?
Right.
Honesty is honesty, man.
Yeah.
I think it's so tough to have blended families, like in a perfect world when people are healed on both sides and we're trying to blend two disparate families. But like you were saying, if they're not taking in any of OP's like wants and needs, they're not considering any of it. They are just like, yes, you fit this little block into our lives, and you move there and you stay there and you behave. That's not something, especially at OP's age.
Right.
As a teenager, that's never going to cut it at all. When your mom died, you feel like you don't have a place at all. You got stashed at your grandparents' house, and like no one actually cares about you. Your grandparents obviously love you, but you feel like you just don't have a place in this world, and they're like, okay, I just made this new family, and now you just come back in like nothing happened. I think you're right, because I was like wondering, I'm like, how should the dad have approached this? Like, yes, do you want to live with me? No. How do we build the rapport with each other? How can I still want to be in your life? Because I do fault the dad of how he did it, but I don't fault the dad of like, I cannot raise you right now. Be with your grandparents.
Right.
I don't fault you for that, but there's things you need to do to maintain the relationship with your kid.
Right.
I might not be able to take care of you, but I'm still going to maintain something over the period of time so you know I still love you.
Right.
Even if I don't have the capability to raise you right now. The dad didn't do that, didn't maintain that relationship. And now he's trying to act like none of that, like this break didn't happen at all. So I'm like, as the father, you got to be like, hey, I messed up. And I have to do the things that you need for us to get better.
Yeah.
Not what I need, not what my wife needs, like what you need. This is not, it's not your life matters in this because you're my child.
And OP needs it too, because one thing that stood out that OP said was that when he was, I think he said like 6 to 8 or something like that was around the time where he gave up on wanting a relationship with his dad. And with the mother dying when he was 4, that's like 2 years of like held out hope of like, oh, okay, he may come back. He's going to come pick me up or whatever, which like you were saying is not to necessarily knock him because, he assessed and knew he wasn't in a good place to be able to raise a child. But when you come back, you have to do the due process to manage and build that relationship back up.
When they're 5, you should be still seeing your child, even if you can't take care of them.
I was gonna say
you should be seeing your 5-year-old.
Yeah,
you don't have to take care of them. Just like pick them up every now and again to like show I'm your dad and I still love you.
Right? Yeah,
that would have went so far.
That gap is hurtful.
Yeah,
and OP has every right because at first, like halfway through the story, I was like, okay, this was really young when it happened, but it was young with no commitment of. Or no hope of it getting better.
Right.
And then when it did, like, and it didn't get better. When it did, like, the story did change and he's like, oh, I'm taking you back. It's the lack of accountability that just made me so upset.
Yeah.
Just hearing it because it's one thing to, try to paper over it, but you have a lot to answer for.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
You have so much to answer for. And you just uproot this kid's life and take away everything he's known, everything he had to build because you weren't in that position to do so.
His dad is even lucky too that he was able to pass off his son to his grandparents, because I think in so many other situations, people just have to work through that trauma and be like, I don't think I'm the best person to raise you, but there's nobody else to raise you. And so I'm just going to go through this mental anguish on my own, which is like what a lot of other parents do is, listen, I'm working through something, but I have kids. So it's like, we move. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It's, I feel bad for OP because he was just being honest, and the dad doesn't want to. I wonder if the dad just doesn't want to look back at who he was to him.
I think that's 100% it. That's why he was surprised in therapy, because touching on the therapist saying you have to be say it nicer. Like, I need to tell you the truth. I need to tell you how I really feel. This it doesn't serve well to like paper like for your feelings to make you feel good, because this is how I feel. This is why I don't want to live with you. This is why I feel this feeling. I don't feel a connection to your wife. I don't feel a connection to my siblings. And this is why it might hurt you, because you know you're the cause of it.
Right.
It's like hard when you know you're the reason for it. That's like hard to come from. You're like, dang.
Yeah.
There's like no self-awareness though, because even the wife is like that. I'm like, you guys don't understand where this kid is coming from at all. Yeah. Like,
I saw a clip like a while back, and it was just like teaching these two people how to like go about, I guess like conflict in their relationship or whatever. And it's just like, okay, if you get into an argument, yes, you may be hurt by the way somebody said something, but you put that on the back burner, address the hurt that they just expressed, and then you can express like how you felt about how they said it.
Instead of like a tennis match of like, well, you hurt me this way.
Yeah.
But okay, so top comment.
I was going to say, the therapist is actually out of line.
Yeah.
Because in therapy, they're supposed to stay completely neutral.
Right.
Even if you're in the wrong, they're not supposed to make you feel like you're the bad person.
And that seemed like it was like a little gut punch to like OP of like,
you should have said that.
Like, you're the kid, and just correcting them. It's like,
well, it's weirder to me because OP was talking about like they don't really say anything in therapy, like they're very quiet. So I'm finally communicating. I'm finally saying something, and then I get
shut down.
Because,
Okay, so top comment quickly. They stole you from their family and then punished you for telling the truth. Maybe they're the ones who should have been nice, not the asshole. And then he says, my dad still argues they kept me from him too, even though he was the one who gave me to his parents to raise. He's the one who left town and didn't see me in 2 years. He made those choices, but he blames my grandparents instead of looking at how he fucked up. Guess he married someone who blindly supported him and had the arrogance to think a 12-year-old would call some stranger mom.
That's freaking gross, bro.
Yeah. I feel like the more I just like go through life, I realize how important accountability is in taking it. Because there's a lot of people out here, who just go through life and never
reckless
self evaluate,
Yeah, because OP's probably was in court. Back to the story. OP's in court screaming at the judge. Who's the father? Like this last story.
I let him have it too. I'm not even mad, because the thing was, you saw how it got in my brain and it was going to mess up the rest of OP's story. So I did that for OP, because I was just like, if I keep on thinking about it, I'm not going to be able to stop smiling. Like, that's a thing that I haven't had since I was like a kid.
And I was also just like, you know what, you're excited to transition. I'm like, you know what, let me just not look at Josh. And then let's get through the story. I was like, because we should have people that want to be excited to transition. Yeah. So I'm like, I was trying to see who was going to hash it out though.
Yeah. A little piece of me would just want to steal it.
A little piece of me wanted to steal it.
Brandon did it.
Am I the asshole for taking back a gift basket I made for my pregnant friend after finding out who the father of her baby is? My 22 female friend, who is the same age as me, has recently found out that she's pregnant. She was quite distraught at first, since she's not ready for this big of a jump, and she's not sure if the father would commit to her and her baby. We've been friends since high school, and I honestly wanted to be there for her as much as I could, so I made her a little gift basket. She's not very far along, so I just made a basket with a bunch of gifts for her, including some sweet treats, a card, and merchandise from her favorite store. I also added some baby clothes in neutral colors, a baby hat, and some other baby stuff. I came over to her place, and she was elated when I gave it to her, and thanked me for helping her through a tough time. I told her that I'm happy to help her at any time. Well, I was happy to help her until a mutual friend told me that she saw her and my ex walking hand in hand after coming from a scan. I asked around a million times if she was sure, and she saw that she posted a picture on her private Insta of my ex and her saying they can't wait to meet their beautiful baby boy. If this was another ex of mine, I wouldn't have minded, but the ex she got pregnant by was extremely abusive. He gave me a black eye and slashed my car tires. He also stalked me by messaging my dad, telling him to ask if I'd get back with him. My friend knew all of this. She saw it affect my mental health and how it caused me to fear getting into a relationship. Yet she went behind my back and got herself knocked up by an abusive deadbeat. When I saw the pictures, I knew that I'd never be friends with her again, and I was fine with that. I'd rather have toxic people out of my life, but one thing I cannot get over is the money I spent on that basket. So I went over to her place and her sister let me in. I just went to her room, to the basket, and I left a note in its place. It was so embarrassing because I had to run through the back door to avoid being seen, and this whole thing feels immature. Anyway, in the note, I wrote how I felt about her betrayal and told her that I wish all the best for her child that's being brought into this world by an abusive deadbeat and someone who has no loyalty to her friends. I may have phrased that a little differently. I blocked her on everything, so I don't know her reaction, and I feel like I should have been more civil and gone no contact without explanation. I don't know if this is a very asshole situation, but regardless, am I the asshole?
Nah. I mean, you could have just went the no contact route and not left a note or anything like that, but you decided to do it. And, I don't think you're an asshole because of that. It's a fucked up situation.
Yeah. Engaging. Oh man, if I found out like my friend was engaging with a potentially like toxic, abusive ex, got pregnant. She told me she got pregnant, but she didn't say by who. And I'm over here celebrating her. Didn't even know that she was wasting her time on this abusive deadbeat. And then that's how I find out. That's such betrayal.
Yeah.
Such betrayal.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, if you think about how much money you put into this basket for someone you thought you cared about and you thought was a different person who would never hurt you or betray you, I understand going and getting it back.
For me, it's kind of like the goodwill of it all. Like just giving someone you cared about a gift. I don't know. It's almost like thinking about it, giving like a gift to like a villain to me in my eyes. Like, with all the context you get from the story, it's like, wow, like I'm saying it's a justified crash out for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Like to take it back, that's justifiable. Like it's a justified crash out in my head.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't like the fact that it's like the hidden information, because that's what's snaky, just hiding the information. Because
right.
It's not one of those things where if you guys are really close friends, I shouldn't have to ask you who the baby daddy is.
Right.
You should tell me.
Yeah.
But if you don't tell me, tell me. You know what I mean? Like it's like I mean, well, I'm just naturally nosy by nature. So if any of my friends are like, oh yeah, I got someone pregnant or I'm pregnant, I'm like, oh, who's the dad? Let me see
that's
it.
like one of the first questions.
Yeah. So the fact that it's like you hid that information from me and then just let it ride. I don't know.
Yeah. On a friendship standpoint, it's a little fishy. You know what I mean? I feel like we would need some more context to really understand, their relationship and how deep that goes.
Yeah.
They were childhood friends. They've known each other since grade school.
I'm like, I wonder if they maintained that relationship as they grew up, or like, is it one of those ones where we were super tight when we were kids and now, we check up on each other every once in a while, but
I don't know, because she had that enough to pull up and the sister's like, oh yeah, come on in.
Yeah,
so
I think
thinking
it was
like
they've been
knock
tight,
at the
they
door.
stay tight.
okay, yeah.
Or you a sister just walk in, because the sister let her in and she's like, oh yeah, whatever.
So it had to be a certain level of cool to be able to do
there's
that.
like a level of trust, I think, that's just like open door policy.
Yeah. So that makes the whole, back door getting with the ex, thing a little bit worse. Because if they were as close to where she could come and just go in the house, whatever, then they were close enough to where she should know that probably isn't the best thing to do. And or if you do it and you have valid reasons because you just genuinely like him or whatever, even though he's an abuser, so that's weird. You know, you can communicate that, you know, if y'all are friends, you know, but.
I just got a little screenshot of it, so I was just reading it. But they were also thinking it might not be a casual relationship. She might already be in the cycle of abuse, the new friends with the guy.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe that's something to put into account too. But
yeah.
I'm not going to really speak on that because I don't really have a full grasp or understanding of that, but just want to mention that is something that some people are thinking is she might already be in the cycle of abuse with him.
Okay.
So, Josh,
yes.
Happy to see the transition.
My first one ever.
Because it was powerful.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was a powerful transition. So
yeah, I mean,
I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
You know, I'm going to have to catch another one. You feel me?
All right, Josh. Well, thanks for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's always a
Thanks,
pleasure.
Josh.
Love y'all. Love y'all.
Love you. And guys, thanks for being on. Sorry for the heaviness of the last story.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace.
Just hit the like and subscribe.
like.
Just for that.
Subscribe.